everybody. Welcome to Sound Gospel Radio. And we're here. We're hot about help. Can you see us? No, we're here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sound Gospel Radio, where we're building hope, transforming lives 24/7. And so grateful for our audience that you can listen to us live right now at soundgospelradio.com. This right here is just a simulcast of what we're doing 24/7 at soundgospelradio.com. Listen, we're building hope with transforming lives 24/7, and we're so grateful to have everyone here that is tuning into our radio station. We are the 2024 Stellar Award nominated station, but guess what? You can make that happen again, and we're going to talk about that later in today's program, because right now we are in the voting. I might as well say it now. We are in the spectrum for voting right now for the Stellar Awards. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Can you hear me? Hallelujah. You can? You can? You're not in your head? Say something. Open your mouth and say something. Open your mouth and say something. Yes. Hallelujah. Did you say, baby?
You was coming to me for not in my head. That was the background
Okay.
voice. But yeah,
Anyway, y'all, vote for us. SoundGospelRadio.com. You can vote for us at SoundGospelRadio.com for round one for the Stellar Awards. Round one for the Stellar Awards. We're going to talk about it again real soon. Round one for the Stellar Awards for Sound Gospel Radio, Internet Station of the Year. All right, y'all, listen, we're going to do this first and we'll get out of the way because we have a special guest with us tonight, and I'm just so excited to get ready for that. So let me give a shout out to our radio audience. I know many people watch us on Facebook. They listen to us on, watch us on YouTube, watch us on Facebook. Well, let me give a shout out to our radio audience, those that are listening to us right now live 24/7, and shout out y'all to our family. God bless you, Virginia. God bless you, Maryland. God bless you, Ohio. Ohio just always in the house. South Carolina, North Carolina. God bless you. New Jersey, of course, New Jersey. Y'all better be here. Philadelphia, God bless you. We thank God for you, and we praise God for you being a part. And so listen, we thank God for our listeners, and then also to those that watch us live at soundgospelradio.com, those that watch us live on Facebook and live on YouTube, and then those that are going to listen to this on our Spotify and Apple Podcast channel. So we have so many different ways to get information out, so many different ways to get the word out. And yes, we appreciate you, and so happy when we see our family. Our executive board member is just tuning in, and she's listening to us or watching us live at YouTube. God bless you, Sister Connie Lane, and thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate you as we get ready into this conversation. But listen, y'all, I want to talk about this real quick. And musicians, you can fade out a little bit. Thank y'all, musicians, that y'all play really nice, and I'll try to pay y'all next week. But we want to get right into this first piece. We're doing our calendar. Help me for our calendar fundraiser here at Sound Gospel Radio. And I'm going to let her tell you about it. She's going to tell you about it. And we're going to do our first drawing today. Our first drawing starts today. But let her tell you a little bit about it. Just a little bit. Go ahead.
Hey family, help Sound Gospel Radio fill their calendar. All you have to do is pick a date, donate, and wait to see if you won. Oh yes, pick any date in the month of May and donate that dollar amount of the calendar date to Sound Gospel Radio. And then wait each Thursday night on Let's Talk About It to see if you won. So, if you chose May 12th, all you have to donate is $12. And then you'll be added into the weekly and final drawing. That is pretty cool. Go ahead and visit soundgospelradio.com to pick a date, donate, and wait to see if you won. Help me fill my calendar.
Help me fill my calendar. That's it. Help me fill our calendar. Yeah. Help me fill my calendar. All right. Help me fill my calendar. So listen, that's it right there. So guess what? We get ready to do our drawing, and I'm going to play our music. Where's the play again? Boom. Okay. Yes. All right. So here we go. Jaleesa's getting ourselves together, and we get ready to do our drawing for the first week, y'all. We're going to do this every week until the end of May. So May the 15th, May the 22nd, May the 29th, you may have a chance to win. So let's pull up I'll pull it up for you if you need me to. Let's pull up our windmill here. All right. Come on. Add to stage. It said, yes. Help me fill. Yes. All right, there we go. Here we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we pick The first day out of May. Let's see which day is gonna highlight. Let's go ahead. All right, May the 22nd. May the 22nd. So now what co-founder is doing for May the 22nd, she's going to go in and look and see who was on May the 22nd. And we're going to see, did anybody, do we have people that donated on May the 22nd? All right, so we got a few people that donated on May the 22nd. And so what she's doing right now is she's going to add that name or names. Now, if there's only one name, that means that you won. But if there's a few names on May the 22nd, and I think it looks like there's only one name. Yeah, so guess what, y'all? We don't have to spin. We have one name right now on May the 22nd who donated, and that is Miss Charlotte Golden. So Constance Lane, congratulations to you and to Miss Charlotte for winning her part of the drawing for this week for Help Us Fill Our Calendar. And listen, I want to say thank y'all again, y'all, for being a part of this fundraiser to help us fill our calendar. All you got to do is pick a date, donate, and see if you win. And this is how you do it. You're supporting Sound Gospel Radio. You're supporting a great cause. And that's what happened. Miss Charlotte, she donated. And one of the days that she donated was May the 22nd. May the 22nd was chosen. And since she was the only one so far this week that was on May the 22nd, guess what? She won. So we're going to follow up with you. And then for her calendar representative, Constance Lane, who also was a part. Somebody said, pick my date. And maybe next time, we're going to get it together. Oh, that's right. I just see the saints. They say they're waiting for their name. Praise the Lord to you. Good to see you. I'm not playing with y'all. Listen, maybe next week. They said, come on. They are ready. So good to see you. Pastor Davis, Danshay, good to see you, man. Oh, my goodness. So listen, we ask y'all to support us. And maybe next week, you could be the one to win or Help Us Fill Our Calendar. All right, y'all. I'm going to randomly bring up our family and friends as the music is fading out. Family and friends is in the house. Social media enthusiast, Miss Camille, is in the house. You know what? I apologize because I usually do it by ranking. So let me do our executive board member. Executive Board Member Minister Brian George is in the house. Advisory Council Member Tanika's in the house. Oh my goodness. Pastor Hami Washington is in the house. Oh my goodness. But listen, y'all, the person I wanted to bring here by popular demand, y'all. I am so excited to have this person here. He's sharing with us today. We're going to sit at his feet and gain the knowledge that we need to gain. Amen. None other than Huzaifa. You know, I like his name too. Huzaifa Hussein, y'all. Listen. He's an entrepreneur. He's built multiple businesses over 15 years plus, y'all, of experience and listen, he's also an avid real estate investor. He's the owner of Raj, I think I said it correct last time, but Investment Group LLC. He's built a 7-figure, I need y'all to hear me. He's built a 7-figure network by the age of 35. Can I say that again? He has built a 7-figure net worth by the age of 35, and he has a bachelor's of science in finance from Stockton University, master's degree in physical therapy from Mercy College of New York. Listen, and he is also, which makes him he's a physical therapist. He does multiple things. And currently, alongside his pursuit of financial independence, he is building a separate fund, y'all, that pays for the education of underprivileged kids in India, which is his home country. And he likes to call himself a personal finance nerd, of which he takes pride, y'all, in educating and giving back to various communities by sharing his knowledge and personal finance, about personal finance, about personal growth and growing business. But most importantly, if you talk to him, he's going to let you know, I'm a father and a husband. And he says, and I love to spend time with my family. So we're so happy to have him with us tonight. None other than our special guest, Mr. Huzaifa. Sir,
everybody.
so good to
Good to be back. Good to see you all.
We are excited to have you back with us tonight. Listen, to gain knowledge from you, to gain wisdom from you, and just so grateful to have you. We appreciate you. And before we get into this, I want to say hello to Miss Carlene. I call her our SGR therapist. So good to see her tonight. So good to see Reverend Duncan Lane. Appreciate you, sir. And all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, one of my oldest friends, Sister Brittany James. So good to see you. And so we're here in this conversation about today we titled it "Show Me the Money." And before I do this, I see a lot of people y'all are watching, but I need to know, have you liked this post? Have you liked this conversation? You may be watching, and we love the watching, onlookers, you watching and seeing. But if you could do us a favor, help us out and just hit the like, just you gotta force your hand and just hit the button, and it may be hard to do, but you just hit the button and you can like this conversation. You can share it with your friends and family, because I'm telling you right now, we didn't bring this man back. This is the second time coming back. And we didn't bring him back because he got a nice smile. I like his hair. My hair's leaving, but he got the nice hair. We didn't bring him back just for that. This man literally knows what he's talking about, and he's going to share with us some great wisdom keys today. And so again, excited to have him, but we want you to start liking and sharing, get this information out, call your family and friends and say, listen, this man is about to talk and we want to be a part of this great conversation. So we're looking forward. So if I could just give just a brief overview of our last conversation. Last time Josefa was with us on the show, we had an incredible conversation where we shared some straight talking about practical advice on building financial wealth, no matter your age or your background. Josefa, he reminded us, y'all, that it's never too early to start. He says never too early to start. He even talked about the story with his own son. And he said those financial lessons can begin as early as 5 years old. Then he also shared with us, y'all, that when it comes to enjoying, he says, when it comes to enjoying life on a budget, he said he gives the golden advice. He says, focus on what brings you true joy. And in his own words, he says this. I loved it. I had to requote it again. He said, you can have anything, but not everything. Huh? Are we talking today? Are y'all talking back to me on stage? I enjoyed that when he said that.
Right. You're talking right.
Listen, I really, Josefa, he also shared with us, y'all, in our last setting. He shared with us some great financial tips. He told us to tackle your credit card debt. He said, start with the smallest balances and, build the momentum while making minimum payments on the rest. He also advised saving at least $1,000 to $2,000 for emergencies and then aggressively, to pay off that debt. He said, in his own quote, he said, you're a slave to the lender. Oh, have mercy. I mean, he came with straight up. But then he also said to us to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. He gave us some tools and some tips. If y'all hear me just over my words, because this is how excited I am about tonight's show. But he tells us, he says, boost your income through new skills. There's more than one skill out there. He said you can find a different job. You can get some side gigs. You want to make some extra money. Why? He said, give your dollar an assignment. Oh, I'm just telling you what the man shared with us. And he said for investing, we talked about investing. He said you could start with your 401k or your 401(b). Then you can move into stocks and bonds. And he said, even if you're new to finance, Josefa, he recommended reading books like those from like Dave Ramsey, just to build knowledge base. And before we get ready to let him talk and some questions we're going to have, and if you have questions live, you're more than welcome to ask tonight while he's here. But he noted that how high yield savings accounts aren't dramatically better. He said they'll help you if you're on a fixed income. And he said after paying off debt, he said aim to save at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now, how many of us done that? I know a relative that they were out of work for literally that time frame, and because they saved their finances, they were able to pay their bills and still they didn't lose their apartment. They had money that kept them until they found another job. So that's really a nice goal to look at. But he also explained the 529 plan, college savings investments accounts for your kids. So listen, so much knowledge, so many great things that he shared with us. And again, I am excited to have him here on tonight's show. And you know what, Huzaifa, I didn't do this to you and I apologize, but do you have an opening statement you'd like to share before we start asking some questions?
I am just really excited to be here, excited to just share more knowledge, answer more questions. Really happy that you found my last show very beneficial. This is a great passion of mine. Nathan, just your voice, you're such a passionate guy, and I love it. That's why I was excited to be back. Excited to take even more questions, even go deeper into some of the things we talked about. So yeah, excited is a big key word for tonight. I am just ready to go.
Listen, I'm ready, and I see some other good friends here. Down South is in the house. Corey, you said you at the table where the Feast of Sound Gospel Radio is going on. And I see you, my sister. I see you, Erica. That's my actual blood sister, Miss EMH. I see you. I see you. And I see some questions already coming in, but we're going to ask you this first question and to get the ball, just the ball moving. Somebody wanted to know, how do you create generational wealth? We talked about, I think we asked this question in our last show, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So since you're back, we're going to put it at the top question is, how do you create generational wealth?
Yeah, that was, when you send me some of the questions, that was one of the first ones. And the first thing that popped in my head is the way to really create generational wealth is to educate your kids on proper money habits, right? When you don't want to give your children a big lump sum of money when God forbid, when that day comes where you pass away and then they get that lump sum of money, because they will not understand what to do with that money if they don't understand how to budget, how to invest that money. I've seen countless people who have come across big sums of money and they don't know what to do with it, and they end up blowing it on just consumerism. So the biggest way to build generational wealth is to teach your kids from a young age, or whichever age your child is at, even if they're an adult and you're the parent, teaching them how to budget, how to properly use your money wisely. And that's actually going to teach them how to continue that wealth, how to carry on that wealth that you will pass on to them, versus just passing on, say, a stocks from Apple company or bonds or a brokerage account. They will not know what to do with it if you don't bring them along that journey of your financial independence. You have to bring your child along. That's what's really going to help build generational wealth, because then they will teach their kids what you taught them, and that cycle will continue. I talk to a lot of people from different economic backgrounds, and the biggest thing they say is this word they use of, I want to break the cycle. But you just have to take that step to break the cycle. If you may not have been taught how to budget, how to use money wisely. It's not about like don't spend money, but how to use it wisely. But you have to educate yourself and then bring your child along that journey of bringing your child along step by step. You guys can do it together if you're on that path of financial independence. Even if they're 5, 7, I think I mentioned last time, I do it with my kids. Every time they get money, there's 4 jars. There's spend, save, invest, and give, right? So we even push them to put towards, and eventually what they have done is they put more money towards the give box, because they're more happy. You realize you get more happy by giving money to charities and for good causes versus spending money.
Wow.
But once you start that habit at a young age, that's what's going to really build generational wealth.
Wow. Y'all already. So I like it, because what he said already is, if you don't know, take out some time to educate yourself. And then once you educate yourself, then educate your family or your child or those that you live with, so that, and then they'll continue on. They'll continue that thing on. And I like what Nelly Crystal said. She said, exactly. She said, yeah, teach them, because we teach them anything else.
Yeah. Your family is a team, bring your spouse along with that journey, and everybody's going to be educated on how to handle money the right way. And yes, build accounts for them, pass on assets to them. But when you do pass that asset on, you'll feel very good that you're passing it on to good hands where they'll continue to grow that asset.
Wow. Listen, I love it. You know what I love about the audience today? Y'all came with some questions. Listen, audience, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to ask probably one or two more questions that we had already let Huzaifa know that we were talking about. And then we're going to bring in some of your questions. And I love the fact that y'all have questions and that y'all are ready. And guess what? And I know the fact that he's going to be able to answer them tonight. But I'm going to ask another question that we had already pre-planned in our show for tonight. Given the current economy, oh, so much has changed. What advice do you have? So much, right? So much. And did you drink to it? I'm going to drink to that too. So much has changed. Mm-hmm. I smack too. I can do what I want on my station. All right. Given the current economy, what advice do you have about savings, paying down debts, and investing? I'll ask the question one more time for those in the back that can't hear me. Given the current economy, what advice do you have about savings, paying down debts, and investing? Wow.
So economy goes in various cycles, right? But the money habits that you develop, that I want you guys to develop, it's going to always be the same. Meaning, have your 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, and in times like this, is even more important to have it, right? Because we don't know the politically and economically what's going to happen. Prices are going up because of tariffs. So again, how are you going to combat that? It's part of life. How can I boost my income or lower my expenses? There's always, when you are budgeting every line item of your monthly expense, you will be able to see, hey, where can I actually cut expenses, or how do I need to boost my income? Do I need to talk to my employer about a raise? Do I need to go back to school to get another degree or an associate degree, or just develop my skill, whether it takes 3 to 6 months to then be able to get that boost in my income? But this economy is still robust. But the biggest thing I want everybody to do is just kind of constantly look at your finances every month. You know, my wife and I, we sit down every month and we say, okay, what is our budget? What are we looking to do? What are our goals? Discussing our goals. That's the habit I want you to have, whether it's economy, whether we're in a recession, whether we're in a robust economy. It doesn't matter who the president is. That habit, that cycle should always continue. I want you to still contribute to your 401k, right? You want to always be able to contribute to your 401k, especially up to the match that we talked about last time, because that's essentially part of your compensation. That's money. When people will word it as, oh, that's free money, don't leave it on the table, but that's part of your compensation. If you put 3,000 and they match the 3,000, you try to put in the 3,000 so you get that 3,000 from the company. That's part of your compensation. That's not just free money. That should be something that you should be doing. Again, being aggressive with your savings, maybe 3 to 6 months. But if you feel like, hey, maybe I live in an older home, I may have, my furnace might go out, my hot water heater might go out. Continue that saving aggressively, so then you can budget those items, and those items will not set you back on your financial journey.
Wow. All right, y'all. I'm going to keep it moving because we want to pack in as much as we can between this next hour that we're in. I see, Erica, I see your question, and I'm going to come back to you in a minute because Corey asked a question about the 3 to 6, and I'm going to bring his question up right now. Corey Warren wanted to know, what is the formula to calculate 3 to 6 month living expenses?
Mostly, I would say your fixed expenses. So your fixed expenses are going to be your rent, your car note, if you have a car note, your utilities, your insurance. What I actually want to talk about today is some of the variable expenses, like your utilities. Put them on a budget. You know, call up the company and say, hey, put me on a budget plan for your gas or your electricity. So that way, every month is the same amount that you're paying them, regardless of. They'll look at your cycle of through your past year and see what your bill was, and they'll average that out to an amount, and that'll become your fixed expense instead of a variable expense.
Wow.
Right? Your utilities, your rent, your car insurance, everything that you're paying monthly that you can track, you should always have that amount. So if you spend $5,000 every month, that's your living expense, meaning that's what you need to survive. You didn't go out to go buy a new pair of sneakers. You didn't go out to go out for dinner. But this is what you need to live a good lifestyle that fixed expense is what I would say you need to have 3 to 6 months of.
Yeah.
But especially the big items, right? Your rent or your mortgage payment, your utilities, your insurance, health insurance, car insurance, and such. So, and that I would even add a little buffer to it. If you know that, hey, I'm used to shopping here for my groceries and they're a little more expensive because I buy organic, or I give to charity at this, every 3 months I give to a charity here, that I need to budget that. So budget all of that and have that in your expenses, and always have a little extra buffer. Some people will take it even to a year of living expenses, but that just to have, once you go 3 months, then it becomes a game where you can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to try to save 6 months of living expenses. So I feel really safe.
Wow.
And that's when you have that cushion, you can start taking some risk in your life where you're applying for a job. You're possibly going back to school because you have that buffer to always fall back on.
Wow. Ooh, okay. I like that. This is already all right. Listen, and my sister's probably gonna get me later because her name says Miss EMH, and I called her actual name out. She probably said, "Why'd you say my name out live? Would you be telling everybody my name?" I can hear her saying it now. But Erica said, she said, "How should someone invest if they've inherited money from a relative?" Hold up, who you got money from? Did Dad leave you money? You didn't tell me about it. Because I'm telling you, I don't care. We live right now on the radio station, on YouTube or Facebook. It'll be a problem because I need to see. These are my witnesses. Did Dad leave? I'm going to find out after this.
Don't bring me into the family drama. Don't bring me into the family drama.
Leave us out of it.
Leave us out. Hold up. I was wondering. See, so I'm leaving. I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to trust God. This is Sound Gospel Radio. I'm going to leave it back to look. You're like, yeah, asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Let me get serious. That's my sister. I love messing with her. But she asked a question again, Huzaifa. She wanted to know, how should someone invest if they've inherited money from a relative? That is a good question.
The first thing I'll say is, think about investing as long as you're not in debt. If you're in debt and you've inherited money, your first goal should be to pay off your credit card debt, that car note, any consumer debt that you have, because that's going to have usually a very high interest rate. The interest rate is not what you're going to be able to make on that money. So you should always pay off your high interest rate debt first, besides investing. If it's a significant amount of money, and it's in an asset such as a stock brokerage account, if it was a 401k that was passed on, the first thing you should also do is consult a tax CPA, so you understand that if I sell that asset, what are the tax consequences of that money that I'm going to gain. So the biggest thing is first is just consult a tax attorney or a tax CPA. But if it's a smaller amount, when I say small amount, I'm saying maybe 10,000 or less, look into paying off debt first. And then you can, until you decide on a investment vehicle, put it in a high yield savings account. So at least you're making about 3 to 4% on your money until you're ready to invest that money. But the biggest thing I would say, it's the safest thing I like to invest in is in the S&P 500 index fund, which you can open up a stock brokerage account on Fidelity or Vanguard. And just buy an index fund. So the S&P 500 index fund is you're essentially buying a piece of the 500 biggest companies in America.
Okay.
And historically, that fund, which is when people say that stock market, they really are talking about the S&P 500 fund, the S&P 500.
Okay.
And the S&P 500 historically over past 50 years has returned about 10, 11% a year, which means you're going to be doubling your money every 7 years.
Wow.
Which is a slow and steady wins the race type of investment.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to go for some business or something that a neighbor or somebody has pitched you, or you're investing in a farm or this or that, or a car wash. You're investing in an asset that's where you're living and breathing in America, right? You're seeing exactly what's going on in the economy. So you're piece of that. You have a piece of that growth of America. So I would say invest in a S&P 500 index fund, open up a brokerage account, And you guys can always email me, and I can tell you what the ticker is. But again, this is all you can Google. But I'm happy to help.
Appreciate you.
But the best thing to do is pay off your debt first. The biggest thing I will say is, once you're in debt, that cycle just doesn't break. You have to get out of debt, especially credit card debt. The only debt you really should have is a mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. That's the only debt you should have, because that's the only asset that's actually growing in value. Every other debt is depreciating, meaning that asset that you bought, you think it's an asset, but it's depreciating. The car is depreciating. The pair of Jordans that somebody bought is depreciating. That TV that somebody bought from Best Buy on a credit card is depreciating. Mm-hmm. So pay off your credit card debts with that money. If that's what if you have debt, if you have zero debt outside of your mortgage payment, then look into investing in a brokerage account.
Wow. All right.
Great info.
I'm gonna try to be kind. Y'all have any questions on stage yet?
So for a person that's actually bouncing back from a hardship, what do you have for them? So you have pay off your debts, but what else would you do? What else would you advise?
In terms of hardship, are you talking about more like their credit score was affected, or they had a financial hardship where they kind of have to start from zero again?
Starting from zero again, like, yeah.
I mean, if your first thing is, do you get back on your feet in terms of getting a good high-paying job in your career, right? Once you have established that, if you're looking to change careers, going back to school, and if you need to take some debt on to go back to school, that's okay. The biggest thing to do is when you start from zero is, how can I leverage my skills to create the best income that I can? Sometimes we forget to see what kind of skills we truly have. There are there's skills that we have that we overlook because we're so kind of pigeonholed into this one career that you may have. But just really getting back on your feet in terms of your career, living below your means, whether it's sharing, if you are single, maybe whether sharing a room and living, instead of an apartment, you're in an apartment where you're sharing a room, so your expenses are much lower. Whether you're taking a bus or a train instead of buying a car right off the bat. Just being okay with going through struggles for a year or two to kind of, so if living like but most people won't, to live like most people can't in the future. So really just, it's, and now what that hardship did is it made you even more tougher, right? To be able to take on those challenges without feeling like, oh, I am, you can only go up from when you're all the way rock bottom. So every step is going to be growth. Really, from there, every step is going to be growth. So you got to just continue to say that I am doing this for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I don't have to show the world anything else. The growth journey is just between you and yourself.
Wow. Oh my goodness, y'all. We're going to take a break soon, but I'm going to ask a couple of more questions, try to fit some in on this side of the hour. Just some simple questions that some had was, how do you start budgeting if you've never done it before? How do you start budgeting if you've never done it before?
So there are a lot of apps to help you budget, but just simply, what I really do like to do is just grab a pen and paper, go buy a notebook, grab a pen and paper. And I know most people don't do that anymore. We have either computers or
right.
Line by line, from your highest to your lowest expense every month, just write it down. Your fixed expense, especially, right? Your rent, your utilities, how much you spend on food, how much you spend on eating out, how much you spend on clothing each month. You have daycare expenses. What are your fixed expenses every month? And write them down from the biggest to smallest. And then see, and then when you write it down, when you look at it, when you're actually writing it down, if psychologically and physically it does something where you actually are like that, those numbers start hitting you, right? When you're just spending on a credit card or when you're just looking kind of a bank statement, it's not really tangible. When you actually see it right on paper, you'll see, oh, I'm spending $700 a month to just eat out. How can I cut that back? I realize I'm spending $20 every day on lunch eating outside. And so I can pack my lunch, but I see that now I've spent, I'm $100 a week on just eating out every day for lunch. So line by line, write down everything, or for 1 month, come home and write down what you spent that day in a notebook. Create a notebook, 30 pages, and come home and write that down. And then you'll be able to break down what your monthly expenditure is. So the best thing to do is, and then you can also do it in an Excel sheet too. If you want to do it on a computer, grab an Excel sheet every day, come home and write down what your expenses were. That way you can really track them line by line and understand. And that's when you'll actually start seeing gaps of, hey, this is where I'm spending a lot of money here, which I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So you can use apps and they're great, and they'll give you a bird's eye view of your budget of what you're spending every month. Even most banks will do that now, where you can click on a category and it'll tell you how much you spend on food or utilities and such. But when you start writing every dollar that you spend down, you'll be able to track that dollar, and then you'll be able to give every dollar an assignment moving forward. So I personally write down, every end of the month, I'll just grab my pen and paper. I'll take it from my computer and write it down, and I'll have it in a notebook. And I'll do it at the year end as well. Every year I say, okay, where am I at? What are my goals? What are my assets? What are my liabilities? And writing it down in a notebook. And I still just have that notebook, and I just, I've had it for the past decade.
Wow. Ooh. I know when we have these type of shows, when the audience is a little quiet, they're taking notes. And I've seen a few already. God bless you, Miss Charlotte. We appreciate you so much. She said, this is a blessing and enjoy. And I see Miss Gail, and she said, listen, living like no one want to live like no one can. I said, oh, all right, I'm going to ask this question. I'm trying to concise as much as I can. I saw a question that someone wanted to know was, how can you rebuild credit after a financial setback? And I'm going to go on break after that. How can you rebuild credit after a financial setback?
Biggest thing to do is learn from that mistake of that setback that you had. You have to make every payment on time. Again, you can use that same notebook example. Write down all your bills and when are they due, so you don't even miss a day you're not a day behind on all your payments. Because the only way to build back that credit is to really start making all your payments on time, and to show the credit bureaus, that you are responsible, that you have changed, right? Even so, there's not much room for error when you have had a setback, since your credit score is going to be significantly lower than what it was previously. Yes, you may have a hardship, you made a mistake, you were uneducated about some of finances, but now that you have started the journey, or you had a setback, you have to make every payment on time, to the best of your ability, to be able to rebuild that credit. There are agencies who will help you rebuild your credit. Yes, they do. But it's not about as much as the agencies as it is about the habit that you want to form. Because again, if you run to an agency, they'll increase your credit score by 100, 200 points. There are ways to, yes. But what happens is you didn't develop that inner habit to say, how can I consistently keep the score high? In the back of your mind, it's going to be, oh yeah, if I mess up again, I'll just, I'll pay a few $100s to this, this company, and they'll build my credit back up. And then it's not going to put you on the right track. So you should always pay your bills on time. It takes about 7 years for the most derogatory remarks that are on your credit that kind of come on if you've been behind on your bills significantly, you have any judgment or any payments that are assigned to you. So you really have to just kind of pay your bills on time. Say that 7 years is the goal, 5 years is the goal, and you'll see significant improvements in your credit score once you just start kind of making your payments on time.
Wow. All right, y'all. And like I said, I got some questions, audience. You're more than welcome to ask. And time is moving fast. These type of shows, the time goes by so quick. So we have just a few more moments left. But we're going to take just a short break, and we'll be right back, y'all. God bless.
Hello, hello. Good morning. Nellie Crystal here. And listen, I have a quick announcement before I go into the office. Sound Gospel Radio has been entered into round 1 for voting for the Stellar Awards. And what I would like you all to do, if you'd be so kind, is to get on this link that I've attached to this video. And the link is www.soundgospelradio.com. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and vote for round 1 for Sound Gospel Radio for the internet radio station of the year. That's what you want to do. So go ahead and vote. And listen, you want to tune into them. There's 24-hour gospel radio station, and they are playing all the greatest hits, the new hits, the nostalgic hits, the old hits. Everything that you can think of, they've got it, and they're playing it 24 hours a day. They're playing some of Nellie Crystal's hits. They're playing some up-and-coming artist hits. So listen, they're anointed. They pray with people. They shout out people. They give people a chance, and they are building hope. They are transforming lives 24/7. Sound Gospel Radio. Listen, we're going to get the word out here in Toledo, Ohio. I want you all to vote. Click the link. Let me know that you voted too. Shout us out. Shout Sound Gospel Radio out. Tag them. Let them know that you're supporting them, Toledo. All right. Love you all. Peace and blessings. Stay encouraged. Keep building hope, transforming lives. Sound Gospel Radio. Listen, we're here for you. Let's take it to the next level. Every round goes higher and higher. Let's go. We can do this.
I believe you can do it. Oh, yes. I need you to vote. Come on, come on. Vote. You can do it. Yes, you can. Vote. Go to the website and yeah. Vote. All you gotta do is click on the button and vote. 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 That's right, from May the 6th to May the 16th. All you gotta do is go to soundgospelradio.com and click on the link and vote for Sound Gospel Radio Internet Station of the Year for the Stellar Gospel Music Awards. Woo! All right, y'all, that was it. That's it. We're back. Boom, just like that. We're back with Huzaifa. We had to take that short break to get ourselves together. Because sometimes, listen, when you're dropping knowledge like that, so much knowledge, you just too much. So we had to take a break. But I'm excited, y'all. We have our financial specialist with us, Huzaifa Hussein, the one and only. And I'm so happy to have him with us, y'all. We really, really love him, and we thank God for him. But yes, let me pause real quick to say, vote for Sound Gospel Radio. Aunt Darlene already said, she said, I love it, vote, and did. I can hear Tanika saying it. Tanika, I can hear your family all through this. Listen, I love it. Praise the Lord. And we appreciate y'all. Listen, round 1, round 2 is going to come in a couple of weeks, but get us to round 2. And then we want y'all to really, 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 really vote. So we need y'all to do it times 10 when we get to round 2, because we do that, we can actually win this year. And we thank God that last year, that's right, already voted. I love the fact that people are already letting us know. And Mama Payne told us, she said she already voted. So yes, vote for Sound Gospel Radio. And we appreciate you so much. And because of you, last year, we were 2024 Stellar Award nominated. So that means out of all the radio stations in the world, we were the top 4, hallelujah, of gospel internet radio stations. And we weren't even 2 years old at the time. Somebody said, who does that? Sound Gospel Radio.
Won't he will? Won't he do?
Sound Gospel Radio does that. Julissa, were you saying something? I never tried to. What'd you say, baby?
I said I think you can vote every day. If you're on one network, you can only vote once on that network, but you can vote every day during this.
Wow. Listen, Miss Charlotte, thank you. We appreciate you, those that have voted for Sound Gospel Radio. So I'm definitely excited about that. Listen, y'all, we have here live in our virtual studio. To those that are watching the replay, make sure just type in the word replay for those that are watching the replay. And I want to say thank you for those that are going to listen to this on our Spotify and Apple podcast channels. We appreciate you. We have so many different audiences. And those, listen, we're here live on Facebook and YouTube, and that's all fine and dandy, but we're really just a part of our live radio station that plays 20. Y'all heard Nelly say it, 24-hour gospel music, 24-hour inspiration network. If you haven't already, shame on you. I don't know what other way I need to say it, but I'm going to say it right now, soundgospelradio.com. And people are tuned in as we speak. I can show you. Boom, boom. People are tuned in. People are tuned in. They're listening to us at soundgospelradio.com, where we are live. And we just also happen to be on live on Facebook and YouTube. That's just a little extra. But anyway, we have our financial specialist with us here, Huzaifa, and we really enjoy him being with us. And I'm going to get right back into the show and ask this question. Some people want to know, should you pay off debt or invest first? They want to know, should you pay off debt or invest first? That's a question that they want to know.
You should absolutely pay off debt first before investing. Because the interest rate that's going to be on most of your debt is going to be significantly higher than the return that you can make on your money when investing. And not only that, you're actually decreasing the amount that you will be able to invest if you're constantly making payments. When you're constantly making payments, you don't have much left over to invest. So you want to reduce those payments by paying off debt. So if you can pay off that car, and now you were making $500 a month car payment, but you have a paid off car. Now that $500 can go towards investing every month. You have to just get used to driving a more of a used car because you paid it off in 5 years, but now, it's a 5-year-old car, but drive it for another 5 more years. Now that $500 payment that you're making every single month for that car can go into investment. That's $6,000 a year for the next 5 years.
Yes. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm excited. Y'all all muted, but I'm going to let them talk.
Pay off your debt. Yep. You should. Only that you really should have is a mortgage payment. You can now, when you say, and then if you, for example, the car example, so you got done paying off your car, and then you started investing the $500 a month every month, and then your income grew. So then you started maybe investing $600, $700. But then you're realizing that in a few years you might need another car. You could stop investing if you want to, and then save that $500 every month for the next 2-3 years, and then take that money and go buy your car instead of getting a car with a car note.
Yeah.
You just have to get used to not showing the world that you have money. Meaning, what happens is people go into debt to show others many times that they have a nice car. Or they have a nice house, or they have XYZ that's nice or fancy. You just have to get used to, I'm going to go buy a used car instead of going buy a new car with another car note on it.
Yes.
So, but once you start investing that money after for example, once your car is paid off, you'll get so hooked on that investing, and you'll see that money grow that you'll continue that journey, and you'll figure out how to not have another car note. So that way you can have free money. That's you have more residual money that you can constantly invest versus then buying more consumer items. So you should always pay off your debt first, learn to stay out of debt, and then continue your investing journey.
Jose, I got to vent for a moment, because I got a little annoyed because growing up in different communities and things, you hear people always talk about them. They got all this, and look at the car they drive, and look at the house they drive, and them was people that wasn't of their own ethnicity or whatever. And I'm not going to say what one it is, but you hear all this jealousy and all this. But I worked with a few of them, and I watch them come to work every day with lunch that they prepared from home. I watch them drive that old jalopy to work over and over again, like you just said, until it fell apart because they were saving their money appropriately, while us, quote unquote, were going to, like you said, the fast food restaurant every week. Oh, it's only $5. I had a relative one day that said, well, it's only $5. I said, that $5 adds up. And when I said it to them, they had to think. They're not looking at, $5 deal. That's how marketing gets you. But that $5 adds up every day. You're going and you're not bringing in your lunch. And then some people even tell you, I'm not bringing in my lunch. I ain't got time for that. But guess what? They did. And so if you want what they want, you need to do what they're doing. That's just
no, it's absolutely true. And what we forget to realize is we think we associate fancy things or consumerism with happiness. Meaning, if somebody has that fancy car, he or she must be so happy with that car. We don't know their life. We don't know what's going on inside. We don't know how happy or unhappy they actually are. We just need to worry about ourselves, right? When your finances are in order, you're going to be happy, because that's a big burden on you and your family that's going to be off of you. When you're driving that 10-year-old XYZ car, it doesn't matter. They're not part of your life. You don't need to show the world how much money you have. Most people that actually have the most money are just wearing jeans and flip-flops and a white t-shirt and just hanging out, because they don't need to show the world that they have money. They're just happy with themselves, within themselves.
Yes.
It's not always, but many times it's the people who are constantly. When I say people, I'm just talking about every ethnic group, right? It's in every culture. There are people who are more worried about showing the world that they have made it, instead of showing themselves that they have made it. Right? You should be happy within yourself. You don't need to tell the world. The Mercedes is not going to tell the world you have made it.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa! I need y'all to hear what he's saying today. He said Mercedes world ain't going to tell you that you have made. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get on y'all for being quiet on this stage. I gotta do this by myself.
Guy that Mercedes, right? I want just one last thing, but if that's what truly makes you happy, but you have to ask yourself the question: am I buying this for myself, or am I buying this to then show others that I have a Mercedes? Many times when we ask that question, we realize, I think I'm just really getting this because X, Y, and Z has it, or this person has it, so I need to roll up in a Mercedes. But we forget, and once we do roll up in a Mercedes, how much of a financial burden we're putting on ourselves by driving that, right? Eventually, once the friends will see it once or twice, right? And then after that, you still have that same car the next year and the next year, but that payment is going to continue, So the biggest thing is to just continue your investing journey by paying off all your debt, figure out a way how to stay out of debt, and you'll see your money will grow, because you'll have income that's coming in and it will stay in your bank. It's not going to be just going out to bills and debt.
Yeah. What'd you say, Tanika? You put it in the private chat. You want to say that out loud to everybody?
Well, I wasn't going to cut.
It's okay. I made the space for you. Go ahead and say it.
So trying to keep up with the Joneses is what keeps people broke.
Yeah,
I think people will go out and get that Mercedes, especially if they're coming from maybe past experiences of poverty. And so all the name brand things that they never saw growing up, except from, the Joneses, when they get to a certain status, maybe they're not 7 figures, maybe they're 6 figures, maybe they're 5 figures.
True.
If their credit will allow them to get that Mercedes or that BMW or that Jaguar, whatever it is, they'll go get it, and still there's a void that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
So they'll keep buying all this stuff, trying to fill that void, when just trying to be like someone else will never fill that void. You have to be your authentic self. So.
Got to be our authentic self.
Said it really well. Yeah. It's buying consumerist items is not going to fill that void. Finding passion in whatever profession you're in, the hobbies you're in, is what's going to really that happiness is going to come from the non-consumer items in your life.
All right, I'm gonna try to ask these. I'm gonna try to ask these few questions because time is wrapping up fast, and these few I definitely need to hear what you got to say about these that came in. Somebody wants to know: are buy now, pay later services dangerous for your finances? Somebody needs to say. I want y'all to know y'all ain't no dumb questions, ain't no horrible questions. These are good questions, and the man is here to talk about it. I'm gonna say it again. The question was: are buy now, pay later services dangerous for your finances?
Yes, it's absolutely it's very dangerous for your finances, and also dangerous for yourself. Again, it's you're not able to train your mind to say that I am going to have delayed gratification. I'm going to delay what I need to purchase when I'm able to with the money that I have. There's nothing that on a buy now, pay later that you need to live, right? Most of those buy now, pay later item the service is on consumeristic items that you don't need today to live a good life. So you should absolutely avoid that because it does carry a high interest rate. And God forbid there is a setback, that interest is going to keep on accruing on a depreciating item that you can't return back. So please avoid buy now, pay later. It's just a fancy way of saying put it on my credit card and then I'll pay it off in a month or 2 months or 3 months. But they're actually getting you by telling you don't have to pay. You have to pay zero out of pocket today. So it's not even like swiping a credit card where okay, that bill is going to come in and that bill is due in a month. Buy now, pay later is they're extending it to 2-3 months where you don't have to pay for 2-3 months. And what happens is we forget about that payment many times. It's not budgeted, and when it comes up, you don't have the money for it, and boom, that's when they hit you with the interest that's accrued from day one from buying that item.
They know that. They know
that yes, your things will change in your life in 2-3 months where you might not be able to make that payment.
Wow.
And now the interest has accrued from day one since you walked away with that item. And that's how then again you go in that cycle of then it affects your credit score, right? You'll have to then you're paying high interest, and now that item that was supposed to cost you $200 out of pocket if you're just paid cash or just paid it with your debit card, is now going to cost you $400, $500, $600.
My goodness.
So you should absolutely avoid buy now, pay later.
My goodness.
Anything that's on buy now, pay later.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like
Brian,
it's just another tool that America has created. The banking system has created to constantly make interest on items, right? They know people will, if we throw this lure out, this bait out, they're going to bite it, and we're going to be able to collect interest on items that is not really a necessity to live on. You don't see buy now, pay later item at a grocery store or you see it on items that it's like, just consumer at Macy's or at Nordstrom, or when you're online or you find things that are, it's more of consumeristic items that buy now, pay later services are there for. So the bank is making money on your impatience.
Yeah. It's like written furniture, Miss Charlotte said. Not good. Wow. Brian has a question. Go ahead, Brian. Wow, that was good.
So earlier you basically were talking about the ways that you can save your money. The 3 to 6 months, even up to a year. Are there certain accounts, are there preferred accounts to use that can give a higher yield on interest as far as saving is concerned?
Yes, absolutely. So most of your brick and mortar banks are not going to give you a high interest on your money. I'll give you some names as an example. So Ally Bank, ALLY Bank, Discover Bank, American Express Bank. These are your non-brick and mortar banks that give you a high interest on your money. For example, I use Ally myself. The interest on an Ally savings account is probably, I think right now it's about 3.5% to 4%. Versus Chase will give you almost zero, even in a savings account. You're not going to make anything on it. But again, you can just create it right off from your computer, create an online savings account through Ally Bank, right? It's FDIC insured. Save your money there, and then you can link it to your Bank of America or Chase or whichever brick and mortar bank that you use, where you can just transfer money from your checking account from Chase to Ally, from Ally savings account back to checking account, and vice versa. So your Chase will always have your brick and mortar bank, so you do need to walk into a branch for anything you can, but your savings account can be with a online savings, online banks, because they don't have an overhead like a Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo do, right? They have a branch, they have to pay rent, they have to pay employees. Ally Bank is all behind the scenes, it's all online. So they're able to kind of pass on that higher interest to you and absolutely use that. For example, if there's $10,000 in your savings account at 4%, you're making $400 on it, right? It's at least it's 400. It's keeping up with inflation. Inflation is about 3-4% a year. So now your 10,000 is still worth 10,000. What you can buy in 2025 from 10,000 in 2026, you'll have to spend 10,400 to buy that same item because of inflation. But at least it kept up with inflation, and you made $400 on your $10,000.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Josefa, usually we end the show by 9:00. I really respect your time and schedule. Are we able to steal you for another 10 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, I just want to ask because if not, I will end the show because we respect your time. We really do, and I want to get this. I got some questions on my list. I want to
We
get
got
done, but I
some
want to
good
respect
questions
our
to answer,
audience
yeah.
as well. I respect our audience. We have an audience question. Miss Nelly Crystal wanted to know. She said, "I need advice on how defaulted student loans can be approached to help improve your credit score." She said, "I know my score dropped 100 points because of a student loan, but I faced them and called them, and they jumped my score 105 points. Do you have any other points?"
I know that's what I was going to say. Call them, say you made a mistake. You're willing to pay if you have the money. Say, or get on a plan, or call them and say, "Hey, I have the money. I made a mistake. I want to pay it. Are you able to take that remark off my credit score?" And many times they will work with you and they will take that off because they know their ultimate goal is to get their money back, right? Which you're willing to do. Yes, it might be a little late. There might be a late fee, or some accrued interest that you may have to pay, but whether it's with anything that you have missed a payment on and you see that they've made a remark on your credit, call them. They will work with you. Kindness will buy your way through this tough time if anybody's going through it. But always call up the bank. Try to speak to a supervisor. Speak to whoever you need to, and see and have your money. When you're calling them, tell them you have the money to pay, because that's what they want to hear. Don't call them with an excuse, because it's not really going to help solve their problem on their end. Their job is to just collect the money that they need to collect every month. So call them and say, when you have the money, call them and I made a mistake. This is what I'm able to pay, and I'm going to restart paying you monthly on time. And that should help your credit score. That will help you take that remark off at least.
Wow. All right, there you go, Nelly. He answered the question for you, and I know you're gonna respond soon. So we go. I'm gonna narrow it down to 2 more questions. I know I have 4 on my list, but there's always next time. There's always next time. But I do want to. I think I should ask this question, even though I'm an entrepreneur. I can call you. I got your number, so I can call. So, but I want to ask this question because I believe somebody wanted to know this one was: can you live a financially healthy life in a high cost of living city? I think that is a very great question. People want to know. I'm going to ask it again. Can you live a financially healthy life in a high cost of living city?
Yes, you can. But the question you have to ask yourself is, are you living in a high cost of living city because you have a great opportunity there and your income is going to be higher? For example, are you moving to New York City because you are now making $100,000 instead of $50,000 because of the cost of living is higher, and there's more of a job growth or more career growth there for you? Or are you just living in New York City because you want to live in New York City just to experience that lifestyle, and you're still making $50,000?
Right.
You can live a healthy and a financially healthy lifestyle there, but again, you have to make changes. You want to live, for example, you're living in New York City and you're making not the income that you need to be able to live a good lifestyle in New York City, then you may have to get a roommate. You might have to no car, you may just have to take your subway everywhere. You might have to pack your lunch. Again, there's always means to make, if that's what is meaningful to you, is living in a high cost of living city, or when I say fancy, like a bigger city, like New York City or Philadelphia or Chicago or LA. How can you make that work by cutting back on things? So that way, if your income is the same but your expenses are higher, where can you cut your expenses? So again, budgeting before you move there. Looking into researching into what the rent is going to be like. Even planning, like I say, pre-plan. Figured out that the rent is going to be $2,000 instead of $1,500 in South Jersey, for example. Now my rent's going to be $2,000. Can I make a $500 payment extra a month in my bank account, like I have a $2,000 payment every month? Are you able to manage that? Do it, role play that move financially and see if you can manage it for 3 or 6 months and then make that move, because now you were able to, find a way to save another $500 to make that $2,000 rent payment.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, I think you're able to do it. Just have to understand that I need to pre-plan it, and again, pre-plan it on paper before you move. Do research, call people that are living there, understand how your lifestyle is going to change, and then make that. Yeah.
That makes a lot. And there's a lot of things that people don't do. They just, like, again, they see lights, camera, action, move to a place and don't do the research. I love that. Call people, ask around. That's very important. I really like that. Oh my goodness. All right, Charlie, we're going to cut this show today. You know, we usually get off at 9, but again, this is a man, when people are busy like this man here and share this type of knowledge, I respect their time. I don't say I respect. Let me say this, you know, you gotta give disclaimers a lot these days. Now, all of our other guests, I'm not saying I disrespect your time, but this man right here, he really fits us in his schedule, and he doesn't have to. And I'm grateful that he's here. So, and this is a father who will get back to his kids and his wife and enjoy his night. I want to ask this question as we get ready to close. I love this question because I want to hear what you got to say. What's the worst money advice you've ever received? I'm already laughing because I don't know what it is, but what's the worst money advice you've ever received?
It wasn't. I'm trying to recall the worst. So this is the advice I'll tell you is, it's not the worst money advice, but the advice that you'll receive as you go on your financial journey is from many times you'll receive advice from people that are kind of set in their ways, and they're set in their journey where they're sedentary. There's not much growth, and then they see you that you're trying to grow, and that's when they start giving you remarks like, why are you doing this? This is not going to help. This is not going to work. But they have never tried it. They're almost kind of indirectly pulling you back to to their level, versus letting you grow. So early on, I would get a lot of that. Oh, are you sure you want to invest in real estate? You know, it's a headache being a landlord. Or are you sure you want to do this? They're going to call you at 2 a.m. in the morning to fix their toilet, or this or that. You know, those little sentences that kind of sets you back and says, "Oh my God, am I making the right move?" But go with your gut, keep on growing. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't do it for anybody else, but do it for yourself.
Yes, sir.
In life, you're never, you're never going to fail. I'm never failing in life, right? Like, I'm either growing or I'm learning a lesson. So yeah, if they call me at 2 a.m. to fix their toilet, I'm going to figure out a great plumber. So that way they just call that plumber every single time. But either you're growing or you're learning a lesson. But don't let people around you give you advice where, or this is the biggest thing, is somebody had told me this: don't take advice from somebody where you don't want to be at their level. You would take advice from somebody that you're pursuing to be, not from somebody who is at a level that you no longer want to be at.
Yeah. I listen. Okay. I have to say this, Huzaifa. Listen, I want y'all, those that don't know him, y'all see why we brought him back. I don't care nobody say, and I don't mean no disrespect, but you come on my station, you be preaching, man. I tell you, you come on here preaching, and you sound like a good preacher too, because you're saying facts. I see Nelly Crystal. She said he's preaching. She said ordain him tonight. But it's the truth. I can't tell you how many times people started. Can I talk about real quick? Sound Gospel Radio.
You're good. You're good.
I was very careful who I shared this information with, even starting this, because they could have talked me out of it. You sure you wanted it? All because they don't see this far. So even with your finances, be careful who you share your finances with and your financial future with. Because again, some people, they're only going to be here. They're only going to be stuck. They don't want to grow. They don't want to go further. And they want to keep you where they are. And then, and like you said, they start nipping. You sure you want to do that? You know? Anyway, shout out to my man, Nate Matthews, who I've known for many years, who suggested you, who told us about you. And he even said to me, he said, Nathan, if we listen to this man in college when he was telling us some of this stuff, I mean, you should see his face. He's like, bruh, he was telling us this in college and we wasn't listening. And although he has made some transformation already with his life and finances, he said, had he listened to you in college, he know he would be so much further along. So to know that you've been teaching this, man, for a very, very long time. And you share this wealth of knowledge with us. And I do agree with Miss Payne. She said awesome information. She said it will only work. I would say that it only will work if you make the changes, if you're doing this already. So true. Listen, y'all, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please let us know. You can comment right now. Those that are going to watch the replay, those that are listening to us at soundgospelradio.com, you can call us at 609-316-2766, or you can email us at info@soundgospelradio.com. We are your number one internet radio station for gospel music. We are the 2024 Stellar Award nominated station, and we want to do it again. We want to be the 2-time. Amen. We don't know what the Lord's going to do this year. We know he's doing great things. Again, those that are on stage, we ask you to stay here on stage with us. But I want to say this one more time. We're building hope. We're transforming lives 24/7.
Consider being a blessing to Sound Gospel Radio. SoundGospelRadio.com. Give a general donation. Buy some merchandise. Consider partnering with the company. Tanika, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and get in contact with me so you can help me fill my calendar.
Uh-oh.
Only after you help me fill mine.
Before we go, they're going to fight. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. Listen, y'all. Listen. You're more than welcome to visit our website. You can be a part. As you see, we did our first drawing today. We have 3 more drawings coming. And look, our final main grand prize is paid groceries or paid gas for the whole month. Yeah. So listen, all you got to do is pick a date on the calendar, donate, and win. Go to our website. I tell people, don't be afraid to go to the website. Everything you need to know is at soundgospelradio.com. We're building hope with Transforming Lives 24/7. Again, Huzaifa, just stay with us on stage just a little bit longer, and we appreciate y'all. Have a good night.
Building hope, transforming lives 24/7. Sound Gospel Radio.